Friends, hope you all are doing well. So I'm here with my second module of theory of supply and demand, and this time you can see my class is completely empty as it's a lunch time. So that's why I thought to make this video at right now, because this time I have no work, so I have to go for lunch, but that would be after 1 hour. So okay, I would like to special thanks to one of girl, Miss Emma from Stanford University, who approached me to make this second part on earliest. I'm really thank you, Emma. You had encouraged me to make this academic video, because first video having very low view, trust me. So I personally thought that people are not going to see it, but as I see number of people has gone through the video, and even they had commented for the same. So thank you guys to encouraging my academic videos. I know it's not the one which make you understand everything, but might be it's help you in very simple words, because this is all how I am going to study in my first semester for entire things. So if I could be able to pass this subject with good marks, I'm pretty sure whosoever is going to see this video will be also able to make his academic. Alright friends, so we are just going to start our first module, theory of demand and supply, second part. And in case if you had missed out first part, you can go on check on link below and you will find that video as well. So it will be easier for you to understand lot of things in easy manner, so you can relate my videos properly. Module 1, theory of supply and demand. So in my first video I had explained in the first part nature of scope of economics, its relevance, demand analysis, nature of demand, individual demand, demand by market segment, and determinants of demand. So in case you hadn't seen that video, request you to kindly go in link section. You will find the link for this previous video, because this module was quite bigger, so that's why I had just made it on two part. So on this part we are going to talk about supply function, determinants of supply, law of supply, elasticity of supply, concept of elasticity of demand, theorem of price elasticity of demand, demand forecasting, and need for forecast. So here it goes. So this being presented by me, Abhishek Prabhakar, and I'm a student of Amity School of Hotel Management doing MBA first year, and I'm studying in Noida. So first of all we talk about supply function. So first we start with meaning of supply. The law of supply expresses that when the cost of product expand or increase, its supply also increase. Likewise, when the cost of product diminishes, its supply additionally diminishes. Henceforth, there is an immediate connection between the cost or price and the inventory of the product. Be that as it may, here we will concentrate on supply function. So meaning of supply function in brief, if we talk, the supply function is a numerical portrayal of association between the amount expected, quantity demand of the product or service, its value, and other related factor. For example, related product cost and input cost. A supply function has numerous individual dependent variable and independent variable. A supply equation can be planned by inspecting the connection between the independent and variable and the supply. It can likewise be formed by characteristic where the relationship is negatively related or positively related. For instance, as a general rule, the market cost or a price and supply are contrarial association. Then again, supply and innovative improvement are positively related. For instance, better innovation and technology demonstrate added supply. So the supply function is expressed as Sx Sx is equal to F by Px by Pq by Pf by St and T comma O bracket close, where Sx is referred to supply of the given commodity, Px would be price of the given commodity X, PO would be price of other goods, PF will be price of factors of production, ST state of technology, T is equal to taxation policy, and O objective of the firm. So this is the formula on which the entire supply section has been based on. So for this, if we talk about supply, we have to talk first about the determinants of supply, the factor on which the supply of a product or a service are. Start from firm goals, cost of input or factors, technology, government policy expectations, cost of other commodity, the number of firm, natural factor, price of the commodity. These are the determinant of the supply. So first we talk about firm goals. The supply of merchandise or product additionally relies upon the objective of an association or an organization. An association might have different objective. For an example, sales maximize, employment maximization, profit maximization, and so on. Where the association's goal is profit maximization, it will sell more product when benefit or profit are high and less quantity of product when the benefit or profit are low. Cost of, if you talk about cost of input or factors, cost of factors of production and input like land, water, capital, and business venture likewise decide the supply of the product. At the point when the cost of resource is low, the expense of production is likewise low. Thus now organization will more often than not supply more product in a market as well as the other way around. Now it comes to technology. When a firm use new innovation, it save resource and furthermore decrease the expansion of creation or production or manufacturing. Accordingly, firm produce more and supply a greater quantity of the good. About government policy, the taxation, rebates, subsidies, and policy given by the public authority likewise away the supply of goods. When the charges on taxes are high, the manufacturers are reluctant to create more merchandise or product, and hence the supply will decrease. On the other hand, when the public authority allow different rebates, subsidies, and given monetary guide to the manufacturer, they increment the development or a production of product. Subsequently, the supply likewise increase. Talk about expectation. When the market or provider expect the cost will increase later in the near future, they hold on to merchandise so they can sell them at a greater cost. This will bring about a diminishing in the supply of product. Similarly, in the event that they anticipate a fall in cost, they will build the supply merchandise. Cost of other commodity. When the cost of corresponding product expand their supply additionally increments along this line, these outcomes result in an increment in the supply of product additionally and vice versa. Also, when the cost of substitute expand their supply likewise increment, these outcome is an abatement in the supply of goods. Number of firms. When the number of firms in the market increment, the inventory or supply of merchandise additionally increment and vice versa. Natural factor. The factor like climate condition, floods, pest, drought, and so forth likewise influence the stock of product. At the point when these variables are ideal, the supply will be increment. Price of commodity. It is the primary and the main determinant of demand. At the point when the cost of the price of product or commodity is high, the provider or manufacturer will sell more commodity. Thus, the supply of the product increments. Likewise, when the cost is low, the inventory or supply of the product diminishes. Inferable form immediate connection between the cost of item and its supply. So after determinant, let's talk about law of supply. The law of supply is the macroeconomic law that states that all other factors being equal as the price of goods or service increase, the quantity of good or service that supplier offer will increase vice versa. The law of supply says that as the price of an item goes up, supplier will attempt to maximize their profit by increasing the number of items for sale. Supply is the quantity of commodity which is offered by the firm or a seller at a particular price during given time. In other words, supply is the part of stock which is actually brought in the market for sale. A market supply refers to the quantity of commodity that all firms are able to offer to a particular price during a given time period. So let's discuss about the law of supply in more. I had taken this video from Investopedia. Thank you so much.
Supply is one of the most fundamental principles in microeconomics. According to the law of supply, for all other things remaining constant, the higher the price of a good or service, the higher the supply. Producers want to produce more of that good or service at the higher price to increase profits. Conversely, the lower the price, the lower the supply. If you were to graph this relationship with the quantity supplied on the x-axis and the price on the y-axis, the relationship between price and supply is graphed as an upward sloping curve from left to right. This line is referred to as a supply curve. Movement along the supply curve is referred to as supply expanding or contracting as price changes. Wesleya Corp produces electric cars. At a price of $20,000, Wesleya produces 5,000 cars. If the price increases to $25,000, Wesleya will produce 6,000 electric cars. The higher price induces them to build more cars. The law of supply is a theoretical concept. In real life, variables do not remain constant. Things other than price can affect supply, such as prices of related goods, availability, and price of raw materials. Assume Wesleya builds a new, more efficient factory. It is now able to produce 6,000 electric cars at the $20,000 price. The supply curve shifts down and to the right. The quantity supplied changed because of an external factor instead of a change in price.
So hope this make you more understand about law of supply. So let's talk factor affecting supply. There are many factors affecting the supply of commodity in the market, including inputs cost, price of the commodity, the state of technology at a given time, taxation, price of other goods, objective of the seller, number of firms selling the same commodity amongst other. So these are factors affecting supply. So what does the law of supply states? Law of supply expresses a relationship between the supply and the price of product. It states a direct relation between the price of a product and its supply. If other factors remain unchanged, if the price of product increase, seller would prefer to increase the production of the product to earn huge profit, which would automatically lead to increase in supply. Similarly, if the price of product decrease, the supplier would decrease the supply of the product in a market as they would wait for a rise in the price of the production in future. It indicates the direction of change in amount supplied and it does not indicate the magnitude of the change. So let's talk about elasticity of supply. Elasticity of supply defined as the responsive of quantity supplied of a commodity to change in its own price. The value of elasticity of supply will give the degree of or quantity of change in supply to change in price. It's get calculated as the formula being given to you. So this is the major formula which been used to calculate the elasticity of supply. So let's talk about meaning of its and its type of elasticity of supply. It is measure of change in supply of commodity due to change in other economic variables such as price of the commodity, the price of related goods, cost of production or and seller expectation etc. So let's talk about type of supply. There are majorly five type of supply: perfect elastic, perfectly inelastic, unitary elastic, relatively inelastic. So first we are talking about example of an elasticity supply. An example of an elasticity supply is the supply of non-necessity goods such as soft drink, where there are many substitute and choice. A drastic change in price will not have a toll on the supply since customer would opt for another brands of soft drink or prefer close substitute. So first we talk about type of supply. So first would be perfectly elastic supply. What actually it is? The supply is said to be perfectly elastic when a small rise in price would result in supply to become infinite, while a small fall in price would result in a fall in supply to zero. It is also known as infinite elasticity. There is shown by straight line supply curve parallel to the horizontal axis. For example, suppose the price of commodity is rupees 10 and its supply is 50 unit. As the price increased to 15, its supply increased to infinite. As you can see in this curve, it's perfectly elastic supply graph I am able to show you. When the price goes higher, the quantity comes down. So this is the price perfectly elastic supply graph. So let's talk about perfectly inelastic supply. When the supply doesn't change with the change in price, whether falling or rising, the supply is said to be perfectly inelastic. It means supply remains constant against any value of price in the market. This is represented by a straight line parallel to the vertical axis. For example, suppose the price of the commodity is rupees 10 and supply is 200 unit. As the price increased to 20, the supply remained constant at 200 units. It implies that the supply is perfectly inelastic. So this is the graph by which we can show perfectly inelastic supply. So now we are talking about unitary elastic supply. When the change in the supply of commodity is in the same ratio as the change in the its price, it is known as unitary elastic supply. For example, suppose the price of commodity is rupees 50 and the quantity supplied in a specific market is 200 units. As the price increased to 55, its supply rise to 220 units. It implies that unitary elastic supply. And the figure, if you be able to see, in figure x-axis show the quantity and y-axis shows the price. SS is the supply curve which you can be able to see. When the price is P, the quantity supply is Q. You can see that when price is P, the quantity supply is Q. As price increased to P1, the quantity supplied also raise and it goes here to Q1 with the same proportion. This is why it's known as unitary elasticity supply. Fourth would be relatively elastic supply. Relatively elastic supplies occur when the proportional change in supply is greater than proportionate change in price. It means that there would be greater change in supply due to small change in price. It is also known as highly elastic supply and more than unitary elastic supply. For example, suppose the price of commodity is rupees 50 and quantity supplied is 200 unit. As the price increased to 55, its supply increased to 250 unit. It's implied the supply to be relatively elastic. And you can see the figure when the price is P, the quantity supply is Q. As the price increased to P1, the quantity supply also increased to Q1 but with more proportion. So thus it's imply a relatively elastic supply. So relatively inelastic supply we talk about. The supply is said to be relatively inelastic when a proportionate change in a quantity supply is less than proportionate change in price. It means that greater change in price lead to a smaller change in quantity supply. For example, suppose the price of commodity is rupees 50 and quantity supplied is 200 unit. As the price increased to 70, its supply is increased to 220. It implies the supply to be relatively inelastic. And in a graph you can be able to see when the price is P, the supply is Q unit. And SS is the supply curve. You can be able to see this. When the price is P, supply is Q. As the price increased to P1, the supply also increased to Q1 with a less proportion as compared to price. It implies the relatively inelastic supply. So let's talk about elasticity of the demand as we understand what elasticity of supply is. So demand that is relatively elastic suggested that a change in price of a good or service will have an effect on the quantity required of that good or service. A product or service is typically said to have significant price elasticity when there are several replacements available. The price elasticity of demand is calculated by dividing the percentage change in quantity demand by the percentage change in the price. Elasticity of demand formula would be ED is equal to percentage change in demand for the goods divided by percentage change in the price for the goods. So let's talk about type of elasticity of demand. So there are major four elasticity of demand type, and first would be price elasticity of demand, second income elasticity of demand, third would be cross elasticity of demand, and the fourth is advertising elasticity of demand. So first we talk about price elasticity of demand. In short we call it PED. The quantity requested for the product is affected by any change in the price of commodity, whether it will be drop or increase. For example, as the price of ceiling fan rise, the quantity requested decrease. The price elasticity of demand is a measure of the responsive of quantity sought when price vary. price elasticity of demand. Formula for calculating PED is as follow. PED is equal to change percentage change in quantity demand divided by percentage change in a price. So let's talk about income elasticity of demand, which we says in short YED. So consumer income level have a significant impact on the amount requested for the product. This may be seen in the contrast between commodities sold in a rural marketplace and those who sold in urban market. The income elasticity of demand, known as YED, refer to the sensitivity of quantity request for a certain commodity to change in real income, the income generated by a person after accounting for inflation of the consumer who buy this good while all other variables remain constant. Formula for this would be YED is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in income. The formula output may be used to access if a product is a need or a luxury item. So let's talk about cross elasticity of demand, which we call XED in short. In oligopolistic market, numerous companies compete, thus the amount desired for commodity is affected not only by its own price but also by the price of other item. Cross elasticity of demand is an economic term that accesses the sensitivity of quantity requested of the goods when the X when the price of another item Y change, and is also known as cross price elasticity of demand. Formula for this would be XCD is equal to percentage change in quantity demand for one good X divided by percentage change in the price of another good Y. The result for substitute good would always be positive, since any time the price of an item rises, so does the demand for its alternative in case of a complementary good. However, the outcome will be negative. So let's talk about fourth, advertising electricity of demand, which we call AED. The advertisement elasticity of demand is a degree of responsiveness of a change in a sale of a product with respect to a proportionate change in advertisement expenditure. The formula for calculating this advertisement elasticity of demand is EA is equal to proportionate change in demand divided to proportionate change in advertising expenditure. So now we talk about what is price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is a measurement of the change in the consumption of product in relation to a change in its price expand expressed mathematically. It is price elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in quantity demand divided by percentage change in price. So let's talk about factor affecting the price elasticity of demand. A change in price does not always result in the same proportions of change in quantity demanded of a commodity. For example, a small change in price of air conditioner would cause a sharp rise in quantity demanded, where a large change in the price of sugar won't increase the quantity demand to the same extent. Several other factors affect the price elasticity of demand would be some goods are more sensitive or plastic elastic while some are less. Availability of substitute, type or nature of product, income, price and time are five known factors that affect the PED. So first we talk about nature or type of good. The elasticity of demand for a good is affected by its nature. Different goods can be necessity good, a comfort good or a luxury good for a person. This is one more thing, that is a single good can be necessity for one person, a comfort for the second person and luxury for the third person. So we can say that a good nature is relative. Now let's understand how nature affect the elasticity of demand. Example, a necessity goods like vegetable, food, grains, medicine and drug has an inelastic demand. Such goods are required for human survival, so their demand does not fluctuate much against a change in their price. Second example, a comfort good like a fan, refrigerator, washing machine, etc. has an elastic demand as their consumption can be postponed for a time period. So third example would be a luxury good like AC, car, diamond has relatively high elasticity of demand when compared to comfort goods. So let's talk about availability of substitute. The price elasticity of demand for a good with a large number of substitute available is very high. The possible reason behind this is that even a small rise in the price of such goods will include its buyer to look for its substitute. An example of this can be FMCG product like a packet of chips. A raise of 2 rupees on packet of Lays will induce the buyer to go for Haldiram chips. Thus, the availability of large number of close substitute increase the sensitivity against change in price, or we can also say that the increase the price elasticity of demand. Third is price level. The price level of good play a major role in determining the price elasticity of demand. Goods that fall in a higher price segment are more likely to have high elasticity. A price raise will be further push them in a higher segment, while even a small decline in price can put them in an affordable segment. An example of this can be mobile phones or laptop. A person with a budget of 15k won't go for a phone that is 20% more costly. On the other hand, goods that belong to low price segment are generally inelastic or relatively less elastic. An example can be a pocket of matchbox. Even a sharp rise in its price won't throw it into the high price segment. So now talk about income level. Our society is divided into different classes based on income and lifestyle. Upper class people generally have a higher income and live a lavish life, where the lower class people can't afford luxury item because they have a low income. Income level have a considerable effect on the elasticity of demand. The elasticity of demand for a commodity is generally very low for higher income level groups. The change in price does not bother people from such group, whereas the price elasticity of demand of a commodity is very high for people belonging to low income level groups. Poor people are highly affected by the change in the price of commodity. Fifth is the time period. The price elasticity of demand varies directly with the time period. The given time period can be as short as a day and as long as several years. The price elasticity of demand is directly proportional to the time period. This means the elasticity for a shorter time period is always low, or it can be even inelastic. The reason stated for this is redundant human nature to change habit. We generally stick to a commodity and respond very late to the price change. However, the elasticity of demand is high in a longer time period. As our habit change over the time, we can substitute the original product if the price change in the long run. So now let's talk about theorem of elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand measures the degree change in demand due to change in the price of commodity, and the formula for this would be ED is equal to lower segment divided by upper segment. So theorem of elasticity of demand present different attribute and specific condition of the price elasticity of demand. It also describes how the elasticity and slope of the demand curve interact with each other. The elasticity of demand refer to the quantitative measurement of the movement between price and the quantity demanded. It's measured if there is a some percentage change in the price of commodity, then by how much percentage its quantity demand will change. Therefore, it's different from law of demand as later only talk about the direction of the price quantity relationship. So now we are talking about what is demand forecasting. Demand forecasting is the process of using predictive analysis of historical data to estimate and predict customer future demand for a product or a service. Demand forecasting helps the business make better improve informed supply decisions that estimate the total sales and revenue for a future period of time. So there is a huge role of forecasting in functional area of accounting. Good forecast help in a appropriate production planning, process selection, capacity planning, facility layout planning, and inventory management etc. So type of forecasting we just talk about. There are several demand forecasting technique. Based on technique, your forecast may different. So demand forecasting can majorly classified based on the level of detailing, the time period considered, and the scope of the market considered. So first we talk about based on economy. So there are three type of products forecasting based on the economy. First would be macro level forecasting. It's deal with the general economic environment relating to the economy as measured by the index of industrial production, national income and general level of employment etc. Second, industrial level forecasting. Industrial level forecasting deal with the demand for the industry's product as whole. For example, demand for cement in India, demand for clothes in India, etc. So now we are talking about firm level forecasting. It's mean forecasting the demand for an particular firm's product. For example, demand for Birla Cements, demand from Raymond Clothes, etc. So now we are talking about second type of the forecast. It would be based on the time period. So forecasting based on the time may be short term forecasting and long term forecasting. So short term forecasting it's cover a short period of time depending upon the nature of the industry. It is done generally for 6 months or less than 1 year. Short term forecasting is generally useful in tactical decision. So long term forecasting casting long term forecast are for a longer period of a time, say 2 to 5 year or more. It gives me information for major strategic decision of the firm. For example, expansion of plant capacity, opening a new unit of business, etc. So most organizations do multiple demand forecasts to get a better picture out of it. Hence, here are the five major more types of forecasting. Would be like active demand forecasting. An active demand forecasting model take into consideration market campaign, market analysis and research and market expansion plans. These type of forecasting is done by the scaling and diversifying business with the aggressive growth plans such as startup. As startup have less historical data, so they have to make estimation based on external data. So now it's passive demand forecasting. Passive demand forecasting is the simplest way to make prediction using historical data. The type of forecasting is mainly used by well-established organizations with an ample amount of historical data and market experience. So here is external macro forecasting. External macro forecasting helps to overlook trend in a broader economy. This projection look at how those trends will affect your goals. An external macro demand forecast also can offer you a direction for a way to satisfy those goals. So here is internal business forecasting. It's deal with the internal business operations such as business financing, supply chain management, cash on hand, and personals. It basically points toward the area where the organization need to increase the capacity in order to meet fulfilling objective of the business, preparing the budget, taking management decision, evaluating performance, etc. Without demand, there is no business, and without a thought understanding of demand, business aren't capable of making the right decision about the market spend, production, staffing, and more. So demand forecasting accuracy will never be 100%, but there are steps you can take to improve production leads time, increase operational efficiency, save money, launch new product and provide a better customer experience. So first we talk about preparing your budget. Demand forecasting help reducing risk and make efficient financial decisions that impact profit margin, cash flow, allocation of resource, opportunities for expansion, inventory accounting, operating cost, staffing, and overall spend. All strategic and operational plan are formulated around forecasting demand. Second would be demand planning and scheduling production. So demand forecasting let you provide the product your customers when they want them. Forecasting demand require that order fulfillment is since up with your marketing prior to launching, as nothing kill progress faster than the being sold out for a week. And in proper demand forecasting and inventory control can help ensure a business doesn't buy insufficient or excessive inventory. So third would be storing inventory. So demand forecasting can help you spend less money on both inventory, purchase order and warehousing. As the more inventory you carry, the more expensive it is to store. Good inventory management involves having enough product on hand but not too much. Closely tracking inventory level lets you easily restock and forecast inventory over time. Fourth would be developing a pricing strategy. Demand forecasting isn't just about perfecting a business production schedule to supply demand, but it also helps price product based on the demand. By understanding the market and potential opportunities, business can grow, formulate competitive pricing, employ the right e-commerce market strategy, and invest in their growth. If you choose to slash price or put an item on promotion, demand may temporarily increase for the product. Without that sale, you may not have experienced that boost. If there is a limited supply of high demand product, you can use the scarcity principle to increase the price as an inclusive offer. You must keep an eye on new entrant thought as supply may increase. So let's talk about demand forecasting technique. As we already know why demand forecast is important, so now we should know about the technique what we use. So there are two methods in which demand forecasting can be done. First, survey method, and second would be statistical method. So let's talk about survey method. In survey method, there are several types. First would be market research. In market research technique, consumer specific surveys forms are spent out in a tabular format to get insight that an organization can't get from internal sales. It gives better information about the type of customer and demographic data which help to target future market. Market research help young companies to know their customer base better. Salesforce opinion. Salesforce opinion method use data from sales group to forecast demand. Salesperson of an organization are closest to their customer base, hence can generate a valuable information on customer needs, behavior and feedback, and can even more give more information about the competition in the market. Third is Delphi method. In Delphi method, an organization hire a group of external experts. Each expert generate a forecast based on their market knowledge. After this process, forecasts are shared among experts anonymously. Hence, experts get influenced by each other forecast. Now the experts are asked again to generate a forecast, and this process is repeated until the expert reach a near consciousness scenario. The process is intended to permit the expert to expand one another information and assessment. So second important method technique would be statistical method. In this, first would be trend projection. This is the simplest and most common demand forecasting technique which is used by organization. Trend projection use past sale data to project future sale. This technique can be used by organization with a sufficient amount of past sale data, typical more than 18 to 24 months. The data is arranged in chronological order to form a time series. Time series describe the past trends based on which future market trend can be predicted. Second would be barometric forecasting technique. In barometric technique, demand is forecasted based on the basis of past event or the event occurring in present. It is done by analyzing statistical and economic indicators such as saving, investment, and income. This method can be implemented even in the absence of the past data. For example, suppose the government planned for a large housing project. This indicates that there would be high demand for construction material in the future. Like third would be commodities forecasting technique. These technique combine past sale data with a factor of the influence of the demand to create a mathematical formula to predict future demand. It finds the relation between dependent variable and the independent variable. If only one factor affected the demand, it is known as a single variable demand function or a simple regression. Where if there are multiple factors affecting the demand, it is known as multiple variable demand function or multiple regression. So regression equation would be y is equal to a plus bx by 4 by y is the forecasted demand. So thank you guys, thank you, hope you all like this, and I'm not pretty sure that this find you more informative, but as I am a hotel management student, this is how I'm studying my economics. I'm not going much technical way because for people who are not from commerce background, they would be feel more tough to understand. So that's why I had make it simple, and this is way I'm going to pass my economic subject. Thank you guys, thank you for liking and reading it, because last video is having a 51 view. It shows that the video is quite relevant for the students, and hopefully you find it great. Thank you so much guys, have a good day, and for any corrections or any input you can please comment and let me know what all can I have to add it. Thank you guys.